Yo, yo, yo. Let's hope that actually worked this time. Welcome back to the stream, y'all. Thanks so much for showing up. Thanks for watching. Oh, man. We are on to the next problem in this country with racism. It's getting out of control. I hope that you guys know that. I hope that you know racism is a big problem here in the United States. And we need to get it figured out. But really, though, today we're going to take some time and we're going to watch Young Don Reacts. Okay, look, the reason why I'm interested in doing these reactions to the reactions, Kenneth, what's up, dude? How are you? The reason why I'm so invested right now in reacting to the reactions is twofold. Number one, I think what's happening in politics right now is very important for the direction of this country and for the direction of like humanity in general. Being a self-proclaimed conspiracy theorist, I think it's interesting to real time watch how these things are playing out, because everything that's happening right now are things that we have said were going to happen for years in the way that they're happening. Like if you've been watching Alex Jones for any stretch of time, you know that this is exactly what he's been saying. Like exactly what's happening right now is exactly what he's been saying is going to happen. The second part of this is that I think it's real interesting to see the lack of nuance that's actually happening in geopolitics, in the world of politics at large, and seeing how little people actually base their opinions off of. And so with clip culture, and this is what, like, I don't even care if I don't get a massive amount of subscribers, because I'm not willing to just denounce everyone at all times, and I want to see more nuance. The thing that I am more interested in is having the conversation that's actually in the middle rather than taking a hard right or left stance. That's retarded, first off. If you are super hard right or left where you can't call your side or the other side on the bullshit, you're not actually a critical thinker. You're not actually intelligent. You're just a sheep. And something I think that, before we get into it, again, something I think that is really common, especially on the right now, it's always been common in the left. But the right now is you are right or die. No matter what we say, you better stay with it. And I just think that that's super cringe, right? And I've talked about the BLM stuff before. I've talked about the COVID stuff before, where the right wing turned into these like tough guys that weren't actually tough, whatever. And so I'm just like, let's get at the forefront of this, because where I actually see, me personally, I've been invested in internet culture basically since the conception of YouTube. And I've been able to like kind of follow the trends. I've been able to know. And I've been scared to put this kind of content out, but I've been watching, and whenever I watch, I know exactly where it's headed. And I think that this is where this stuff is headed, is nuance. People want to see the in-between. Kenneth, clip culture, that's good. I'm going to steal that. Yeah, dude, that's exactly what it is. It's just clip culture. That's what we live in, is clip culture. Nobody actually cares. Like whenever you watch all these figureheads, like put out something against their enemy, right? They never are putting it in context, because if you put it in context, the things don't sound as fucking crazy as they don't sound as crazy as the clips do. Identity politics, not a fan. Exactly, dude. That's right. All right, let's get into it. Young Don Reacts. I like watching Young Don because I think that sometimes he does have a nuanced take, but he is also a very he's the quintessential, I identify this way, so you're going to get this opinion. But sometimes he has a way of like kind of sneaking in the other side. Do we like Nick Fuentes or not like him? I don't like or dislike Nick Fuentes, to be honest. I think that, look, I've known about Nick for a very long time, since probably like 2019, 2020. He was like a fringe type of like person. I don't mind Nick Fuentes. I think that a lot of the takes that he has are fucking wild. Like, it's crazy. Like the mixed racing thing where he doesn't want to mix races. I think that that's kind of wild. But I understand where he's coming from. Like, I understand that he wants his kids to look like him. Now, he has a really good way of being hyperbolic, a super good way of being hyperbolic, which is he's a master marketer. Like, okay, so something that I want to get into, man, this is going on for a long time before reacting, but something that I want to get into is reacting to hip hop culture, because hip hop culture is great, right? But the thing is that 6ix9ine right now is blowing up again for being a rat. But 6ix9ine, he is a master marketer. Nick Fuentes is the 6ix9ine of right-leaning politics. He knows how to say, he's very articulate. He's very well read. He knows a lot about a lot of fringe topics. Like, he was one of the first people to talk about the U.S. liberty publicly. If you guys don't know anything about the U.S. liberty, go ahead and do your own research about it. He was the one, I'm not actually going to get too deep into some of the conspiratorial things that he talks about, but he's very well read. So he understands how to market himself. He understands how to say things in a way that's going to be inflammatory and get people's attention. It just is what it is. Keeping it real, I haven't seen enough to know how much. Oh yeah, that's wild. Yeah, dude. Yeah. What's up, Keeping It Real? How you doing, Grant? Yeah, so anyway, we are going to react to Young Don.
I'm sorry to say, but he obviously cares more about Israel than he does, principles like free speech.
6ix9ine, is that similar to Tech 9? 6ix9ine is the dude who is like, okay, hold on. I'm not monetized, so check this out. Popping like a willie, you were silly in the hood with the billy and the Hoover. You don't know that song? He like started basically, here we go. Check this shit out. This is 6ix9ine. Everybody knows this shit.
That's my word. Get up in their face. Talk your shit. Let your nuts drag, nigga. These niggas just running at they fucking mouth, man. Follow protocol, blood. Get in they
real shit. 6ix9ine was one of my favorite rappers for the longest time because he's Hispanic. I'm Hispanic. I can identify with this. Not identify with the blood culture and stuff like that, but I identify with the fact that he's Hispanic and he was like big in hip hop. And he came out the mud. This dude got it out the mud. And his shit is like, if you want to go hit a gym PR, right here.
chest, nigga. We the fucking mob, nigga. These niggas bleed different. We don't bleed, nigga. We make niggas bleed blood. Treyway. These niggas said it hurted me. I ain't heard of you. Get the fuck up on my fucking face.
All right, enough of that.
Buddy, like my advice to you, Brady, fine.
Israel's fucked. Israel is fucked, bro. When these young conservatives are getting real comfortable taking shots at Jews in Israel, you know they're in trouble, bro. And they're worried. They're very worried.
That part is true, but hey, one thing that I do want to say is that most people don't actually know why they should be mad at Israel. Like, real shit, most people don't actually don't know the severity of why they should be mad at Israel. The only thing that they know about is Gaza right now, and that's what they're getting mad. That's why they're getting mad. And the reason why Israel is taking such a hard stance at let's buy TikTok, let's make sure that we're putting, I don't know if you guys have got hella ads about Israel and Jewish kids and stuff like that on your YouTube, but my YouTube is going through that right now where it's like, if you saw a Jewish kid get kicked on the subway, like what would you do? Most people don't actually understand what the problem is with Israel. They think it's just Gaza. Now, the reason why they're taking the hard stance and doing all this stuff is because they don't want you to dig deeper. They don't want you to know about some things that happen in their political spectrum since like the 1950s. They don't want you to know the history from like the 1950s, I think, up until now, what has been happening. So if you're confused about the Israel thing, as a lot of people are, that's totally fine. What I would encourage you to do, I'm not going to talk about it on here because I don't want to get demonetized. And I'm not monetized yet. Once I get monetized and I get a bigger following or whatever, I'll probably talk deeper into the issue. But if you're confused about it, there's some things that you should be looking into, like the U.S. Liberty. You should be looking into how their regime changed. You should be looking into the percentage of land that they owned / they wanted to own. How did they end up trying to negotiate for more land? Like, there's a lot of things that are hidden away that are not mainstream, but are documented fact. Yeah, they as Israel. And America. How America is shilling for Israel and how they're trying to protect Israel's name.
Trump's Nick Fuentes problem is getting worse. Video by Philip DeFranco. Let's go ahead and check this out. Yeah, Nick Fuentes is single-handedly tearing MAGA apart. And I love it.
You're seeing...
But the fact that Nick Fuentes is single-handedly tearing MAGA apart lets you know how vulnerable the right wing actually is. And I've actually been saying this since right after COVID, since Trump left, when Biden was in office, that the right wing is so fragile that anything could break it. I really started having my come to Jesus moment with the right wing. I became more conservative in COVID. I've talked about this. But then about 2 years later is when I really started to like kind of think about like, oh shit, now this administration has made me really rethink where my political standing is and whether or not I identify with the conservative party. Is YouTube just basically becoming cable TV? Worse because they can edit in real time. I personally think YouTube is I was just thinking about this yesterday. YouTube is becoming worse than the mainstream media was.
MAGA civil war getting worse and worse, messier by the day, with more big names jumping in to fight. And while some on the right, they've tried to dismiss this as some sort of sideshow, this is so much bigger and more important than they'll admit. And I mean, there is a very real fight over the future of MAGA and the right in general taking place. Right? They can try and act like this is some small little blip, the loud minority, but the numbers show that's a lie. And while this has been brewing for a while, and you can go back to my Monday and Tuesday shows for a deeper recap, the quick version is that recently things kicked off because Tucker Carlson interviewed white nationalist Nick Fuentes on a show last week. And among a decent chunk of the right, that sparked some backlash because Tucker is seen, even though he's not with Fox News anymore, as kind of this...
And that really tells you a lot, because Tucker Carlson was talking mad shit about Nick Fuentes for a while, but Tucker Carlson, being someone who came up in mainstream Republican conservative media, he is somebody who has mastered the art of seeing where the tide is shifting, seeing where the direction that things are going in. And
now, if you take this at face value, that Tucker Carlson was just talking mad shit about Nick Fuentes because you don't actually know the history between the two, which apparently these two don't, then as a left-leaning person, you're going to look at this and you're going to be like, well, his own party didn't even like him, and now they're platforming him. So everybody must be shilling and going over to the Nick Fuentes side and must be starting to turn into white nationalists. But really, if you don't understand the history between Tucker Carlson, Ben Shapiro, Nick Fuentes, who else would be Candace Owens, and Charlie Kirk, if you don't understand the history between why there is beef or was beef, then face value, you'd be like, oh my gosh, everyone's turning into a white nationalist. No. That's not what the case is whatsoever. Nick Fuentes was first put to the, or first blacklisted by Ben Shapiro because he was part of Ben Shapiro's whole, what is Ben Shapiro's thing called? Not Turning Point. That was Charlie Kirk. Whatever Ben Shapiro's organization is called, I forget. I can't remember offhand. Nick Fuentes was actually recruited by them. So there was a girl that was at at Nick Fuentes' debate, at his first college debate. She recruited him. People were offering him jobs there. So he went. About a year in to his journey doing that, he's the Daily Wire. Thank you, Kenneth. He actually was told, or he started to question things with Israel, U.S. relations with Israel. And because he questioned it, they immediately, because Ben Shapiro is a Jewish man, they immediately labeled him anti-Semite. They slapped that on him and basically kicked him out. They blacklisted him. He got kicked out from his show. He got he basically had to leave his college, whatever. Going forward, Nick Fuentes, being the guy that he is, he tried to get on everyone's show basically, and he had been calling to debate people who didn't like his ideas, that didn't actually know his ideas. So face value, yeah, you're gonna be like, oh, everybody's going to the right-leaning Nick Fuentes side. It's not like that. Nick actually tried to get on debates with every single one of these people, and everyone ducked him because he was banned. He was not the person that you wanted to talk to. Nobody wanted to debate Nick Fuentes, right? And so how the beef started happening, how people started how he started getting bad relations with all these different figureheads was he started calling everybody out. And Tucker Carlson specifically, Nick Fuentes said was a Fed. And it's not super far off to assume that Tucker Carlson may have been a Fed because his parents worked for the CIA openly. So it's not super far off to say that. Now, he's wrong. He's probably wrong that Tucker Carlson is a Fed, unless he's really deep and they're trying to do this conspiracy of make everybody hate Israel to make the end of times come because the Bible says whatever. But I doubt it's that deep. It's probably not that deep, right? But the whole point that I'm trying to make is that there's not beef for no reason. It's not that there's beef for no reason. It's nobody would debate Nick Fuentes because nobody wanted to platform him. Nick Fuentes got mad. He tried to debate every single person so they'd actually debate his ideas rather than clip culture. Nobody would do it. So then Nick started calling everybody out. That's where the beef came from. Kenneth, I'm glad you haven't fallen into this thing I used to be upset about the previous administration doing. I'm okay with my team doing because they won the election this time trap. Yeah, dude, fuck all that. I think that conservatives are super gay. MAGA is hella gay. And I don't mean that to be whatever, but it's really frustrating when you see people are Trump or die. They basically just stroke his cock because they're well, he's what we were looking for. He's the better of the two evils between Kamala and Trump. Fuck all that shit, dude. He's not doing fucking anything that he actually got voted into office for. The thing that I'm still waiting, and admittedly I'm the most frustrated about with Trump, is the Epstein files. Fuck all the bullshit. I want to know what people were doing to innocent, I'm not going to say it on YouTube, but I want to know what people were doing to innocents. That shit fucking pisses me off, dude. I don't care who you're trying to protect. I don't care if it damns you. That's something that a lot of MAGA people voted Trump in on, was the Epstein files. And we're going to sit here and pretend like it wasn't. All right, back to the reaction.
A guy like Tucker Carlson, you don't stay on top without going with wherever the tide is going. And so he sees that it's going towards Nick Fuentes and his kind of far-right conservative ideology. And so the fact that he's sitting down with him and trying to play nice, that tells you everything you need to know.
See, that doesn't tell you shit, though. What it tells you is that he's actually willing to have the conversation. The thing that this young Don has fallen into is that he's basically a black identitarian, right? And he's just identifying with what is going to get him popular. This guy, by the way, see, I'm engulfed in internet culture, right? I know things. So this guy used to be a Christian conservative. He's swayed so far left that now white is the enemy, basically, okay? And so the problem with that, I don't have I genuinely do not have a problem with somebody being a, for their race. He's pro-black or pro-Asian or whatever. I genuinely don't have problems with that. I think that you're entitled to whatever your opinion is. I agree with some of these takes. A lot of his takes on race relations in America, I agree with a lot of it. I think that if not acknowledging racism that exists in the country and how certain ethnicities have been held back, I think that that's a huge problem in our country. The problem is when you go so far left, you can't identify the fact that Tucker Carlson is not a white nationalist. He's not a KKK member. He's having Nick Fuentes on because he's the most ballsy person. What was the senator that he had on that he literally said to his face, you're basically that he's a shill for Israel. He's doing it. He's having the hard conversations with everyone.
Direction
Not
of the
just Nick
Republican
Fuentes.
Party.
Institution. He has a huge platform. In the interview, it was friendly, and Fuentes, among other things, talked at length about what he called organized Jewry. And so a whole bunch of conservatives, most prominently Ben Shapiro, Mark Levin, and Ted Cruz, condemned Tucker and Fuentes. But then you had a lot on the right coming to their defense, or at the very least, Tucker's defense, arguing that he was merely exercising his free speech and shouldn't be canceled. And well, now
Right.
the latest high-profile pundit to make that argument is Brett.
You know, it's so funny. Isn't this what they were saying about Charlie Kirk? How despicable it is that there are extremists who want to silence Charlie Kirk because he was saying things that people didn't like. Well, now they're saying the same thing about Tucker Carlson. They're saying, how dare you sit down and have a conversation with people that we disagree with?
See, I can do that too, Young Don. Yeah, I fucking agree with this. I agree with this wholeheartedly. And this absolutely shows you the hypocrisy on the right wing. And the problem with that is it's obviously on the left side too. The left absolutely does this. But the problem is that the right wing is supposed to be the fucking party of free speech. That's the shit that they fucking ran on, dude. Sorry, I had bacon this morning. And, carbonated element. That's the fucking shit that the right wing ran on. Free speech. And talking about uncanceling people. Non-cancel culture. Jumping out of cancel culture. This is the shit that we fucking ran on. Charlie Kirk gets murdered, and all these conservative tough guys are like, he was just fucking, talking to whoever. He was having open dialogue. The minute somebody has a conversation with somebody that they don't fucking like, the minute, now it's a problem. These fat, fucking stupid, fucking tough guy wannabe fucking conservatives, bro, who are all sucking dick on the low in the White House, stand for nothing, pussy ass men, talking about masculinity and being right-wing conservative and all this bullshit. Shut up.
You see, these people, they're all hypocrites.
And very notably, Brett is a former Daily Wire host who was once dubbed the female Ben Shapiro before she left and started her own show.
They're doing all of this. They're freaking out because of how popular and impactful Tucker is. Tucker, right now, is the #1 podcaster in the world. He is neck and neck
Candace Owens just took that.
Joe Rogan as they ignore the obvious shift in ideology and attitudes of their base. Because you're so angry that the conservative base's attitude rapidly changing, that Nick Fuentes is getting national attention. And unfortunately for you guys, yes, the attitudes are changing. So again, it makes sense.
Right over the course of her show, she took shots at several people, including Mark Levin.
Hitler admirers, Stalin admirers, Jew haters, American haters, Churchill haters. You're damn right we're going to cancel them and deplatform them.
Also,
What the fuck? What the fuck? Cancel them and deplatform them. Brother, I am not a fan of racists. I think that racism is a much larger issue than people are willing to admit right now, because people don't want to deal with that and what the repercussions of that actually means. But to deplatform bad ideas is to actually amplify bad ideas. The fact that they cannot see the oxymoron in getting rid of bad ideas. This is exactly how Nick Fuentes got big in the first place, be it good or bad.
Oh,
Graham.
see, they actually love cancel culture after all.
If you ever run for office as a Republican and you embrace this weird shit, we're going to beat your brains out.
as well as Republican Representative Randy Fine.
From a guy who's probably never been in a fist fight in his life.
True, facts. And that's exactly how I feel about the right wing. They talk all this tough guy shit. They never been punched in the face. You got me fucked up.
the most dangerous anti-Semite in America. He has chosen to take on the mantle of leader of a modern-day Hitler Youth.
And you would Cooper go
The most dangerous. Now speech is dangerous.
for all of them.
You know,
for
it's so funny how the right and conservatism is obsessed with this idea of masculinity and masculine culture, but the Republican leadership, for the most part, is a bunch of like soy boy looking kind of guys, ain't it?
Feminine, pussy motherfuckers. They're talking so much about their feelings and how they feel. Isn't the idea of masculinity to put your feelings aside? Facts don't like your feelings, right? Or facts don't care about your feelings. Isn't that kind of like the idea? Stoicism, being willing to step up to the plate when things are wrong, even if it's your fucking friends. Like, to the men watching this, I encourage you to think about this, because I recently have thought about this. We have an issue with drugs with some people in my orbit, okay? Some drug stuff. And I had to take a look at myself in the mirror and say, you preach masculine traits, you preach being truthful and standing 10 toes all the time. Are you willing to have this conversation with these people that are having these issues, with drugs? Are you willing to do it? Are you not willing to do it because you don't want to hurt their feelings? You don't want them to think a certain way of you. Will you do the right thing or will you not? Regardless of how that person views you after. And I came to the conclusion that the fact that I wasn't fucking standing on the shit that I talk about made me a pussy, dude. Like, that's the type of shit, no offense to women that are watching, but that's the type of shit that women would do. I don't want to upset this person. So, I'm going to figure a roundabout way to do this. No. Are you on drugs? Yes or no? Right? And the right wing won't denounce this type of behavior. Aren't we supposed to be the people that are supposed to look evil in the eyes and stand up against it? Isn't that what the right wing is supposed to do if we talk so much about masculinity? Isn't the masculine nature to look evil in the eyes and take it on no matter the risk? Isn't that what masculinity is supposed to stand for?
A bunch of weak dudes.
Evil in this case would be, if Nick Fuentes is so evil, aren't we supposed to stand to him and have the conversation? If Tucker Carlson is so evil, this is sorry. I have to say this. This is beta bitch behavior, right? Like not beta bitch, but like this is like what high school bitches would do. Is they would talk about people behind their back. That's one thing, admittedly, for any CrossFit people that are watching, this is one thing that drove me away from the CrossFit world, was that drama. It's like, what the fuck is the drama about, bruh? Like, talk to the person. There's only one person that's doing that in that world, Andrew Hiller. And Savan, but he doesn't really have much drama.
pretty much the same.
A lot of
reason.
estrogen.
Hypocrisy.
This is just so incredibly hypocritical. Like, haven't we all collectively sat on our shows, sat on X, and talked about how dangerous it is and how irresponsible it was for leftists to just call anybody they hate a Nazi? It is the same kind of inflammatory rhetoric that killed Charlie Kirk.
And then with all this,
Nick Fuentes does, I'm pretty sure he does identify as being a Nazi sympathizer at the very least. He says Hitler is dope. He loves Hitler.
She made that probably got.
Yep, and that's one of those takes with Nick Fuentes that I actually don't agree on. Whether he's trying to be inflammatory or not, I have a hard time even just like standing by that joke. It's like, man, there's so much to talk about on the Hitler thing though too. There's so much to talk about on that in the conspiracy world. I'll leave it for you guys to do your own research on. I do not like Hitler. I denounce Hitler. There's a lot that people should actually look into, is all I'm going to say.
Some of the most attention was a comment about Randy Fine, who's Jewish.
I mean, he obviously, I'm sorry to say, but he obviously cares more about Israel than he does, principles like free speech. So, buddy, like, my advice to you, Randy Fine.
Israel's fucked. Israel is fucked, bro. When these young conservatives are getting real comfortable taking shots at Jews in Israel, you know they're in trouble, bro. And they're worried. They're very worried.
It's just move to Israel at this point.
And that seeming to echo something that Fuentes said to Carlson last week.
If you're China first, you should live in China. If you're Mexico first, you should live in Mexico. If you're Israel first, maybe you should go live in Israel.
Right, it also appeared that Fuentes himself took her comments the same way because he posted on X. Daily Wire alum Brett Cooper says Randy Fine should move back to Israel because he cares more about Israel than free speech. We are never going back to the way things used to be. Enough is enough. America first. But then we also heard a much different
But why is that so inflammatory to so many people to say things like that? I will never understand why people think that it's inflammatory to be like, hey, if you care so much about this country that you're willing to let the country that you live in be destroyed, then maybe you should go live over there. Look, I'm half Mexican. I have dual citizenship, or I used to. I would not want Mexico to thrive at the expense of America. I just wouldn't. I live here in America. I love living in America. My family that moved here from Mexico loves America, would rather America thrive than Mexico because this is where they live. This is where they feed their families. This is all the things. I have family members that come from Mexico here on work visas every year for like 7 months out of the year, however long you're allowed to do that. They want America to thrive. I mean, it's not inflammatory to say those types of things. If you want another country to thrive more than you want your own country to thrive, go over there. Ben Shapiro himself says that Israel is his backup if anything happens here. Just fucking go to Israel, dude. Just go. You remember all those celebrities that were like, we're moving to Canada if Trump gets elected into office, or should have just fucking moved to Canada. Like, just fucking do it. But the reason why they won't, right, is because they know that America is the best country to live in for everything except for kickboxing. And snowboarding right now. Like, fuck, Japan has got snowboarding down. In China, skateboarding, it's not even a fucking competition.
On the Fighting from Daily Wire host Matt Walsh, who blamed the Republicans' embarrassing defeat on Tuesday's elections on exactly this kind of infighting.
We've watched the right-wing commentariat rip each other to shreds.
Hitler, you're wasting your time with whatever this is. Why is that, Hitler?
For offensive group chats and podcast guests and so on. Right now, a lot of people are kind of drawing lines on the right. But here's the line that we really need. Conservatives who have actually shown an ability to win and move the needle culturally and politically on one side versus conservatives who have never contributed meaningfully to any victory at all. And after last night's elections, it's clear that we should just not listen to those people ever again. In my view, the right must unite against the people who want us dead.
So then you had Fuentes.
So essentially, Matt Walsh just said, hey, we need to embrace the racism. We need to embrace all the racists, all of the extremists on our side. We need to unite so that we can overcome these evil progressives that want to give rights and equality to minorities. The greatest enemy of the white American, apparently. According to Matt Walsh, his progression.
Responding to him saying, your fence sitting has grown tiresome. With him then going on to post about what he called lunatic Israel first Jews and ethno-narcissistic bullies. Right? Despite calls for Walsh and a few others for unity, that really doesn't seem to be what's happening. At least not at the Heritage Foundation, right? Because one of the biggest things that catalyzed this civil war was a video statement that its president, Kevin Roberts, put out last week.
We will always defend truth. We will always defend America, and we will always defend our friends against the slander of bad actors who serve someone else's agenda. That includes Tucker Carlson.
Right in that, it shocked a number on the right to see the head of Maine.
That's hilarious. Defending at, yeah, right, dude. No way. As every single politician defends Israel. Really? Okay.
American conservatism's most prestigious think tank, throwing its support behind Carlson here. And then actually on Monday night, Roberts partly apologized during a speech at Hillsdale College.
Hiller, I'm still waiting on the answer. Why is this a waste of time in comparison to what I was doing before?
2 days ago, I posted a video truly with the best of intentions. But I have to tell you, to the students, that this old history professor made a mistake.
Ooh.
And my mistake was not
Ooh.
saying we aren't going to participate in cancel culture. We're not. My mistake was letting that, which we will never backtrack from, override the central motivation that I had in doing that. There's one of those ideas that really worries me. It's an idea that has become cachet, not just on the left, but on the far fringes of the right.
It ain't that far,
and that's
buddy.
Anti-Semitism.
But then Roberts also
Yeah, he got in line. Oh my God. They came, they spoke to him. They were like, yo, hey, pipe all that down. Don't forget who pays the bills around here. Okay.
Apologizing again personally.
That's exactly what that seems like too, right? He's pandering to whoever is writing him the check. Who's ever writing him a check? Wonder who that is.
His own staff yesterday reportedly saying, I made a mistake and I let you down.
So he is for cancel culture, after all.
Down this institution, period, full stop. And then adding that he was willing to resign, but saying that he felt a moral obligation to clean up the mess he created himself. Though none of that appears to have been enough to prevent this rift from tearing part of the organization apart. Because you have the Washington Post reporting that at least 5 members of its anti-Semitism task force have now resigned in protest. Distinguished fellow Chris DeMuth has left. And there was another fellow, Amy Swearer, who reportedly told Roberts to his face that his handling of the controversy was, quote, a masterclass in cowardice that ran cover for the most unhinged dregs of the far right. But this also is others at Heritage felt differently, with one person, for example, at the meeting reportedly asking what would happen to those who agreed with Roberts and Carlson, and another comparing staffers who spoke with reporters to Judas. Even Roberts' own speechwriter, Evan Myers, reportedly suggested that Heritage's...
You see how powerful these guys are? You see how powerful? This guy's got to step down now. This is what they're trying to do. They're trying to get him to resign from his position, which who gives a fuck about that guy, right? And his bullshit. But they're like, listen, all he did was say we shouldn't cancel Tucker Carlson because he has different views on how committed or involved the American government should be in regards to the nation over there. That alone is akin to praise Hitler in their eyes. And
exactly. That's exactly right. That's how the right wing is taking things right now. And that's how you know that like it just can't be trusted right now. Because anything that doesn't play into the game of identity politics is now that you are an anti-Semite, you are a Nazi party apologist, you are anything so far on the other side. Anything that you do that does not fall in line with what the narrative should be or what it has been in the past like 40 years makes you an enemy of the state. You know, I gotta say this. I would love to know what Andrew is talking about too, saying that you are wasting your time with whatever this is. What's interesting to me is this, okay? And this is part of what I was just talking about when it came to the CrossFit thing. And this is probably like what set it off, I would assume, because he hasn't answered. It's the same thing, right? It's identity politics. When you don't play into the games, okay, what is the waste of time? I'm sure, and this is the last thing and only thing that I'll actually say about this, but I'm sure whenever Andrew Hiller started his journey with whatever he was trying to do, what he is doing now, and I've complimented thousands of times, I'm sure plenty of people thought that it was a waste of time. People being haters for the sake of being haters, and this is not the first time, by the way, Andrew Hiller, that I've heard about hating on me. There's, whatever. I just find it really interesting. Hating for the sake of being haters. You're wasting your time with whatever it is. Do you guys know that ASAP Rocky. Let's see. ASAP Rocky. Quote. Let's see. Check this out. And this ASAP Rocky thing is basically the epitome of how I view what I want to be doing now with so many things, since my business is doing well. You know, I don't like, YouTube is what I want to be doing. Like, admittedly, YouTube is what I want to be doing. It's what I have wanted to do. Right. And so, but something that I realized, if you guys weren't here a couple streams ago, something that I realized was that I feel like part of the reason why I was not succeeding at YouTube was because I was truly not doing what I wanted to be doing. And I was pandering towards people and things that I didn't care about and that I didn't agree with. It just is what it is. And towards the end of that, towards me ending pandering to the CrossFit crowd, that's when I like really started to realize, like, fuck, dude, this is not the shit that I want to do. I think that I had agreed with Jedith, I think his name is, some like strength and conditioning guy who has like 700K. They're obviously bought followers and all these things, but he's actually a well-known name in the space. I agreed with him on some stuff about CrossFit, and I think he had a really good take. When I did that, and the backlash that I had gotten from figureheads in the CrossFit space was when I realized, wow, no. That's when I realized, like, I'm taking a backseat on the CrossFit things. But I want to show you guys this ASAP Rocky video real quick to kind of explain where I'm coming from.
I'm a proud LSD user, and this guy comes trying to make a bliss and trying to make it ignorant. Trying things.
It's in the same interview.
Suck a dick. Nobody gives a fuck about what you do. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm trying things. You tried it too. You know, how you gonna knock somebody in the world for actually trying to do something? Trying. Since when has it become not cool to try? Fucking loser. Matter of fact, suck another dick.
I love ASAP Rocky for that. But my whole idea is this. My whole thought process on like the content that I'm going towards now is not that it's just going to be streaming content or talking just about politics. It's like actually leaning into the artistic side. Like, one thing that I will say about Andrew that I said in a stream earlier this week is that something that I struggled with was analysis by paralysis, like trying to figure out what should I post and where and why or how should I do it. Instead, I came to the conclusion that I have so many interests and so many things that I want to talk about or that I want to create that I should just create it all and then put it in one spot. That's just what I thought of. So if what I'm doing is a waste of time or whatever it is, I don't really fucking care, because it's what I want to be doing, and anybody that thinks otherwise can suck a dick. That's just, it is what it is. So I don't really care to pander to whoever. I respect Andrew Hiller, and I think that what he does is awesome. I've tried to talk to him a few times, but I've also heard a couple of things, you know, about me coming from certain people's mouths that I'm like, if there's an issue with me, let's just talk to me. You know, if there's something that I'm doing, let's talk to me. Let's not talk to other people, right? That's my issue. And a big reason why I stopped doing the CrossFit stuff.
He's fucked.
To address accusations of anti-Semitism would eventually mean he'd be required to attend Shabbat dinner, which he said would conflict with his faith, to which another executive reportedly shot back.
Hey, you know what? I'm going to just play into this real quick. I'm going to add to this. All right, this is it. Grant, if you're still on here, so Grant and I had like a little thing, and it was mostly like me keeping it real. Dude, I respect Grant so much because he actually came on a live stream with me and hashed it out. I don't even remember what the thing was. I don't even remember. I think that he had said something or something and I took it a certain way or whatever. But he actually had the conversation. keeping it real. He sat there with me and he talked to me about it on live. And I was like, damn, I can't not respect this guy because he actually took the time to like face to face because, you know, live when we're not going to fly states away, but he actually took the time to talk to me about it. Right. And then, oh man, I could go on about some of the people. I could go on about some of the people in, I could go on about some of the people in the CrossFit space and how their internet persona is one way and it's just not in the real life. Moving on.
He's sorry that you cannot see that as a generous offer, but rather a personal attack on you. So clearly there's a lot happening and we're gonna have to see what happens with Roberts' leadership there. But also amidst the fighting, we got to hear from Carlson himself because he went on Dave Smith's show and explained that he initially had reservations about bringing Fuentes on.
For one, Nick had attacked my family, my father, my wife, one of my children by name. For another, as I've said a million times, I thought he was a Fed. I did suspect that.
So both of these guys thought each other were Feds. Tucker and Nick Fuentes. Fucking hilarious. Because if you're a conspiracy person, then you would understand why both of them would think the other person is a Fed, which makes it like kind of comical.
True or not, I raised that with him. But basically in the end, I decided Nick Fuentes can't be canceled. They've been trying since he was a freshman in college. It doesn't work. In fact, he's gotten bigger.
If you can't beat him, join him.
He is...
Nah, I disagree with that statement right there by Young Don. It's not just if you can't fight them, join them in that case. It's if you can't fight them by censoring them, if you can't silence them, talk to them, figure out, expose the bad ideas in real time. Unfortunately, for the right wing and for people that don't like Nick Fuentes, I think that Dave Smith having him on his show and Tucker Carlson having him on his show actually made people like Nick Fuentes more.
Enormously talented. Anyone who denies that is lying. And he has like a not fully coherent, but a semi-coherent kind of position. And I would like to hear what it is because that's kind of my job. And I'm also interested because he's the most influential voice for men under 30
wow
in the United States.
But then with all that,
that is saying a lot, bro. Nick Fuentes really took the crown from Charlie Kirk. It was only a matter of time.
Like Ben Shapiro, the National Review, and the Wall Street Journal, countering that Tucker's defense that he's just an innocent journalist doing his job and hearing people out, it doesn't hold up to scrutiny. With them arguing that he barely challenged Fuentes at all, he never brought up his worst comments and just let him say things like,
we do, on some level, need to be pro-white.
Without any objection whatsoever. And that is, it's very clear that Tucker is more willing to grill the
And that really goes to show you, man, this is the way how Nick Fuentes feels is how a lot of young white men in America feel, bro. And that's concerning.
That is actually super true. I mean, that part I really do agree with is that we're seeing this radical shift from, and I said this a couple streams ago, that people were so sick of being silenced and the PC culture and all these things that now we're making this radical shift from, we don't have to be PC anymore. Let's just say anything. Let's go off the rails. Now we're pro-white and we want everything to be white culture. Not realizing that these people are really the ones who are not the free thinkers. They're the ones who are actually falling for the trap. Racism in America, maybe it's not worse. Maybe it is worse. What I will say is that it's more prevalent due to social media. Now people are making so much more, oh, you know what? I actually got rid of that live. I took it off. I wasn't proud of that live at all. I was like tired and all these different things. But what's happening now is that we're seeing people make content based off of racism. They're asking people, should black people be able to use the self-checkout line? Things like that. And that's considered content. And I understand that it's shock value for a lot of these people that maybe they don't actually have racist ideology or thoughts. There's got to be a little bit of something in there if you're willing to do that type of content, right? However, the class of people growing up, the generation that's growing up, will see this content, and then they'll recognize it as normal. And they're going to grow up thinking a certain way about race relations in America. That's the problem. That's the main problem that I have. And so racist content and ideology is becoming more prevalent, in my opinion. It's sad to see because I still hold this position. Black dudes hold the key to culture. They just do. Black dudes and skateboarding are the two cultures that determine what is cool.
Of a guest if he wants to, like he did with Ted Cruz.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government.
You're the one who
don't know anything about the country.
So from that,
Ted Cruz, that's the senator that I was talking about. That's who Tucker grilled. No one wants to acknowledge that. No one wants to acknowledge that Tucker doesn't do these hard interviews, blah, 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 blah. Have you even fucking watched the Ted Cruz one? Have you even watched it?
The National Review concluding, why would Carlson choose to take an oppositional tack to a senator who has been fighting for conservatism for decades, but not to a podcaster who praises Stalin? The obvious answer is that Fuentes is an avowed Jew hater, while Cruz is a staunch supporter of Israel. And then with everything that's happening, you did have Carlson kind of saying that it all appears to be about Israel and the future of the GOP.
This is a fight over what happens after Donald Trump. What does the Republican Party look like? What happens after Trump goes? And that's what this is about. That's why they're vesting the energy in this. That's what the rage is about, because they don't want to lose control of foreign policy. I just can't say that enough. It's about foreign policy.
Bro, we can never let these people reclaim power again. We cannot, because they're going to shift again. They're going to shapeshift. That's what they did. You know what I'm saying? Post Reagan, that's what they did. They tried to make themselves more appealing, make themselves seem as if they have matured past the racism that we see today. And then once they got comfortable enough, their true colors came out again. And so you have to understand that this party will never not be the party of bigotry and the party that is opposed to the progression of all peoples in this country. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit. And people will like to argue, well, it was a Republican president that advocated for the freeing of the slaves. No, that's a complicated issue. What was Abraham Lincoln's true motivation of advocating for a freeing of the slave? Was it really because people started caring more about how we treat our fellow man, or were there other more pressing motivations? Abraham Lincoln famously said, if he didn't have to free a single slave, he wouldn't. I think that tells you a lot. But we have to understand that there was a major flip historically, right? The Democrats, the racist Democrats of the South,
turned into conservatives,
moved into the Republican Party. And the people in the Republican Party that were actually progressive, they moved into the Democrat Party. One of the most significant...
That's facts. That's actually facts. That is what happened. But the one thing that I will hold is that the right will not always be the party of racism. I don't even believe it to be the party of racism. I believe, if you guys have ever seen that meme of the eagle, that they're both wings to the same bird at the top level when it comes to politicians. They are both part of the same bird. It's not Democrats versus Republicans. That is just theater. It's all theater at the end of the day. It's all theater. They pretend to hate each other, and they're really shaking each other's hands behind closed doors. They know what they're doing, right? They're all racist, to be real with you. Democrats talk about racism to feel and sound better, but they don't ever do anything about it. They never do anything about it. Mind you, Kamala Harris was, I mean, she's known for putting away minority groups for petty crimes. For petty crimes. The left is constantly victimizing Black people, Hispanics, anyone that's not white. Constantly victimizing. Perpetuating Black Lives Matter type of riots because they know that it doesn't come into the white neighborhoods. It stays in the other neighborhoods. Whose neighborhoods get destroyed? It's the perpetuation of these cycles and behaviors that actually crushes those communities. Liquor stores and different retail stores get looted in the neighborhoods, in the cities. The only communities that get affected by that are not the affluent white neighborhoods, as they would put it. It's the less fortunate ones. That, if that doesn't scream, we don't care about you, I don't know what would. I truly don't know what would.
Flips in U.S. political history is the realignment of the Democratic and Republican parties regarding civil rights and regional strongholds. Before the 1960s, the South was a heavily Democratic region, while Black voters largely supported the Republican Party, known as the Grand Old Party, the GOP of Abraham Lincoln. After the Civil Rights Act of 1964, following the passage of the landmark Civil Rights Act, championed by Democratic President Lyndon B. Johnson, many white conservative Southern Democrats began to leave their party and join the Republican Party. The result, the shift transformed the South from a Democratic stronghold into a reliably Republican region, and African American voters became a crucial part of the Democratic base. This process, sometimes referred to as the Southern Strategy.
The world's a stage, puppets on a string. That's right. Exactly that.
It's a major political realignment that fundamentally changed the political landscape of the U.S. And so we need to keep track of where this spirit, this evil spirit goes from here on forward. We always got to keep track of it. And whatever that party is, whatever is the party that embraces racists and bigots, that is the party we cannot ever allow them to have power again, bro, because look at what they do.
They don't care about domestic policy because they don't care about the United States.
But also with that, you have people who argue that the Civil War, it's at least as much about anti-Semitism as it is about Israel. For example, Jamie Kirchick saying in the Washington Post, this episode has forced an overdue reckoning on the American right. For far too long, the problem of anti-Semitism has been allowed to fester there because too many conservatives have been reluctant to speak out against its chief propagator. Finally, its battle lines are being drawn.
And so I think Donald Trump marks the end of the Republican Party, bro. This era of MAGA is the death sentence to the Republican Party. I truly believe that. But you let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Can the Republican Party recover from this? Can they try to put the racism back in the closet, or are they fucked for forever? You let me know in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching. All
right, so my opinion on that, truly what I think is that the Republican Party is just getting started. I'm not going to lie about that. I think that culture is shifting so far right because of the internet and because of people thinking that this racist stuff is acceptable, that it's actually just getting started. I don't think it's a death knell. No, it's just getting started. And I personally think that what we're going to see is we're going to see a very, very, very far shift to the right because too many people are grasping onto these ideas. There are actual anti-Semites now. People are actually turning into anti-Semites based on all this. They're believing false propaganda about World War II and all these different things, like people are actually thinking that Hitler was a good guy. People are like actually liking Stalin. People are liking, you know, they're taking to these characters, these personalities, and they're starting to actually jive with the ideas. People are shifting so far right that this is actually going to, in my opinion, it's not going to be the right as we know it. It's going to turn into something else. And I do think that Nick Fuentes is going to run for office someday. And he's going to win. He's going to run for office somewhere, somehow, some type of position, maybe presidency. I don't think that he could win the presidency. I mean, he's only like 28 or 27 right now. So there's years until that. But I think that, admittedly, actually, I think that he did say that he would run for office. Man, I'm telling you, we're in weird times right now. We are in weird fucking times. Another stream that I wanted to do, funny enough, that Andrew Hiller like popped in on this, is that I wanted to do, the Buttery Bros came out with a video called Why Is Everyone Switching to Hybrid? And I wanted to actually talk about that. Like, I have it pulled up already on YouTube. Maybe I should... Reality stars for president. Facts, dude. Facts. Why is everyone switching to hybrid? That was initially going to be my live stream today, was what is a hybrid athlete? Do you guys want to see that? Should that be a stream that I do? I've been in the strength and conditioning world for longer than a lot of people have been lifting weights. I've been coaching powerlifters, bodybuilders, D1 and professional athletes. That's been my gig, if you didn't know, for about 10 plus years. I've been doing that. And so that's where a lot of my views on this stuff comes from, strength and conditioning wise. And definitely I still want to have this channel as, like I said, I'm going to do everything. I want to talk about everything. And that's one of the things. I think that hybrid athletes are oh man, the long short of it is that I truly do believe that hybrid athletes are just basically CrossFitters that can't do the fancy stuff, that can't do the party tricks. I don't think that they wish to be able to do the party tricks, but I think that it's way more appealing to people because the barrier to entry is so much lower than it is CrossFit. And I think that people are actually like really sick of seeing CrossFit, to be honest. Like the mainstream is really sick of CrossFit. How do I know? I'm in a normal gym every single day. I'm in a powerlifting gym every single day. I get to talk to the hybrid athletes every single day. I get to talk to the powerlifters every single day, the bodybuilders every single day, the football athletes, the D1 commits, those people. People are sick of CrossFit. Hybrid is the thing that people are gravitating towards because the barrier to entry is so much lower. It gives people something to compete in that seems feasible, and it's fun. You know, it's fun. Nick Bear's still the poster boy for hybrid athletics. The poster boy. Yeah, because he's the most well known, for sure. He's the most well known, so yeah, he's still the poster boy. Hunter McIntyre is a cool personality, and people, like him and know about him, but he's nowhere near that of a Nick Bear or the Raw Dog athletic guys who are like, I think they're turning more hybrid than they are just running. Because I guess definitionally, like the hybrid thing is like lifting weights and running, But yeah, Gym rats who also like marathons. Exactly that. Yeah. Ripping zins and slinging kilos. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. You know, I still hold this position too. Okay. Check this out. I still hold this position. A lot of people have left, but I'm going to tell it anyway. I hold this position. The majority of quote unquote CrossFitters are not actually quote unquote CrossFitters. They are the real hybrid athlete. I actually made a video on this that I never posted because stuff like what just happened in this live stream, right? Like I'm not about the drama and the bitch culture. That's why I'm like, hey man, if there's an issue with me, like talk to me about it, right? That's exactly why I'm like that. That's exactly like when he commented that. It's like, hey, why? What's the waste of time, right? Talk to me about it. And another figurehead in the space that I won't name. But my true opinion is that CrossFitters, like your everyday average gym goer CrossFitter, right? The average Joe, the person who shows up to class, they're actually the hybrid athlete. They're not actually CrossFitters, right? Because in CrossFit, if you look up the 100 words of fitness, okay, we're just going to do this live. 100 words of fitness, CrossFit. Or fitness in 100 words. That's what it is. I don't even fucking. All right. Okay. Here. We'll do this live. Eat meat, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, some fruit, little starch, and no sugar. Keep intake levels that will support exercise, not body fat. Okay. What CrossFitters are doing that? I mean, genuinely. Like, keep it a buck. Which CrossFitters are doing that? I just had this talk with somebody the other day about between like aesthetic bros and CrossFitters, that your everyday average run in the mill shows up to class CrossFitter looks worse than a lot of people who claim to be bodybuilders, right? Not your everyday average Joe that shows up to the gym and has no idea what they're doing, but your everyday average bodybuilder compared to your everyday average CrossFitter. The aesthetic bro looks better 8 times out of 10 compared to those guys. And that's not me being mean. That's just me being like super objective over it. Practice and train major lifts, deadlifts, cleans, blah, 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 blah. Kenneth Delep, affiliate members. Precisely. That's what I meant. Affiliate members. This is true to what they do. 5 or 6 days per week, mix these elements in as many combinations and patterns and creativity. No one's doing that. Regularly learn and play new sports. That's the problem. That's the thing that I mostly have take issue with besides the diet model. Because when I talked to, I think it was Hiller on live, we talked about the fact that diet is a huge part of it. When I talked to my friend Joe about CrossFit, diet tends to be a huge part of it. But if you don't look like you lift or that you exercise, diet obviously is not following. You can logically follow then that person is not doing the CrossFit thing, right? That's what logically follows. And then after that, the regularly practice and play new sports, I just don't or regularly learn and play new sports. I just don't believe that the majority of CrossFitters are intentionally doing that. Like, shout out Joe Niels for sure. That's my boy. I just don't believe that your everyday CrossFitter is doing that intentionally. Like maybe they're a part of a volleyball beer league or something like that. Sure. So what that leads me to believe is that I hold the position as the CrossFitter because I don't think that Metcons dictate that whether or not you're a CrossFitter, right? And I think that that's what a lot of people associate CrossFit with is Metcons. They're like, oh yeah, I do CrossFit because they're doing a Metcons. Well, no, pull the brakes, dude. People have been doing Metcons forever. Football practice, Metcons. People have been doing Metcons, metabolic conditioning, forever. So I hold the position that, yeah, most people, even your figureheads, Rich Froning is a great example of like an actual proper CrossFitter from what I've been explained what CrossFit is. Because not only is he doing the Metcons, not only is he lifting, not only does he seem to have his diet dialed in, because the dude is fucking shredded year round. You can talk about PEDs or whatever. Maybe he's using PEDs. It doesn't really matter. But he also mountain bikes regularly. He plays baseball. He does like all these things and is public about it that would actually dictate what CrossFit is. Or that CrossFit says fitness in 100 words or whatever the fuck. What does it say? Yeah, fitness in 100 words, right? That's if that's what it really is, then the majority of people, even you guys watching, don't actually do CrossFit. You just do Metcons and you lift. Is it a lifestyle or a training methodology or both? That is the one thing that I tried to get when I was like doing the CrossFit content, and it like admittedly bothered me way more than it should have. That was the one thing that I kept trying to nail down, and no one could explain it to me. Not one person. Because what seems, and it's like the idea of right and left, right? It's shape shifting. Whatever you need it to be, whatever is convenient for the answer is what the answer is going to be. It's never actually like a hard, this is it. It's never a hard line. This is what the answer is. Boom, 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 boom. Whatever. It's like whatever the answer needs to be to win the argument, that's what it's going to be. Which is, I mean, for me, it's really frustrating. Or it was. It doesn't occupy any brain space for me anymore, because I just like, I had to separate myself from the CrossFit stuff, because again, I think I did a podcast on this. Oh, like like how some people use the Bible. Yeah, absolutely. Exactly how some people use the Bible. That's a funny story, actually. So, we took my son to a Baptist school, okay, a private school. I was just baptized Christian, like rebaptized as Christian 2 years ago. It will be 2 years ago in April. I was rebaptized. And, so we took him to this, I didn't know it was a Baptist school. Actually, maybe I did. Whatever, it's irrelevant. We took him there. We did the tour. I started talking to the guy about what their belief system is and how they run the school, this, that, the third. One of the things that really stuck out to me, Kenneth, to add to your point, is he said, well, we just follow the Bible. I was like, oh, interesting. So I said, so I asked him, I was like, so what does that mean? He goes, well, we just follow what the Bible says. And I said, okay, can you give me some examples of what the Bible says that you guys deem to be true? He's like, yeah, the thing is that we don't necessarily agree with the Baptist church down the road. And I'm not Baptist, right? I'm Christian. He's like, but we don't necessarily agree with what the Baptist church says down the road. And I was like, that's really weird, because that's a matter of convenience rather than a matter of logic and truth, right? If you are to be the determinant of what something means, or the determining person that says this is what, like, in my opinion, right? Okay, so let's just, he's not this, but the owner of CrossFit, Greg Glassman, he would be like the Jesus in this situation, right? He is the one that gets to define these terms. But then everybody else under his umbrella is just saying whatever they need to say to make it sound convenient or to give the answer, right? So they would be like the prophets or the apostles or, stuff like that. Wherein there may be an underlying message that he meant by all of this. And like, look, I haven't done enough research on like what Greg Glassman thinks or whatever. But I would say that, yeah, it is kind of like that, right? Because when we took my son to that place, we follow the Bible. Well, what does that mean? And then he went on to tell me we have conservative traditional values. What does that mean? What are some conservative traditional values? And then he talked to me about like how women shouldn't be preaching in the church or whatever. I'm like, okay, why? Well, this specific line in the Bible says this. It's like, yeah, but there's also Peter talks about how, women are to be like basically looked to, for the church and for discernment and stuff about, whatever. I had another person tell me that there's stuff about women that they should be talking about Christ and the Bible and all these different things. So it's like, yeah, people have their different messages. They interpret things differently. And it's like, the Bible is to be taken literally in certain positions and stuff like that. But not to your own convenience, right? Like you don't use these things to your convenience. And that's exactly what it seems to be. CrossFit, by the way, is the only thing that can do this because they have their Bible, right? Which is the L1, the L2, the L3, the L4. I think maybe that's it. I don't know. But they have their parameters. But then it's like it gets bastardized, right? By people. This guy actually sounds like the Baptist. Me? Wait, me or the other guy? So it's just funny. I don't know. It's a funny thing to me because yeah, it should be like bodybuilding and powerlifting don't have books. Right. They don't have books. They have rule books like for competition, but they don't have books claiming to be a methodology. And this is what you need to do. The other guy. Yeah. The other guy was a Baptist. But they don't have books about the bodybuilding methodology. Like Arnold has his book of, exercises. And I think, Menser has his HIIT training principles, but there's no like, clip culture. It goes full circle. It absolutely does. Yeah, for sure. 100%. And dude, that's what, like, again, that's what I'm in every aspect of culture. Okay. So I joined a, wow, we're going on tangents here. January of this year, I joined a mentorship program to help me flip my business. So I could mostly go online, and it worked really well. Like it just did. Okay. So that's all I'll say about it. It worked really well. But one thing that recently, if you guys follow me on Instagram or if you don't, doesn't really matter. I don't care. You don't have to go follow me over there. I'm not going to ask for that. One thing that I stopped doing was creating content around the stuff that they were telling me to create content around. And it was because it's exhausting to do that type of thing. It's exhausting to make these clips of, like if you want to, and taking like a hard stance, if you want to grow your butt, these are the 3 exercises, whatever. Number one, it's corny. And number two, it's exhausting to be that person that like cannot communicate nuance, right? Cannot communicate between the lines of like, there's no 3 fucking exercises, bro. You know what I mean? There's no 3 exercises. There is a lot of exercises, right? And that's what clip culture like has done. And like it helps business, and it's very good for shock value and all these different things. But it never tells the full story. And that's something that I like, dude, I don't know why, but I really struggle with not being able to tell or know the full story on like anything. And I think it has something to do with like my artistic background. Like I wrote music for a really long time. I played live music for a long time. I played big shows with people like Rookie of the Year, Hey Monday, Code Orange Kids, like all these, like they're very big bands. I played shows with a bunch of them, not a bunch of them, with, some. I played shows with, big bands. And I think that like when I think about it, and sometimes I get way too introspective and way too in the weeds, but I think about like, I always wanted to be somebody who like really was a storyteller and told stories and like told the nuance of things and didn't just want to like do things to like my guess is Andrew Hiller's like, you're wasting your time because it's not going to make good clips or it's not going to go viral or whatever. Right. But the whole point that I'm trying to say is that like, I don't fucking care about all that shit. Like, I think that if you stay true to what you are doing, you stay true to the art and these things, like eventually things will happen. Like, and I'll tell you a quick story. My band, Hey Monday, haven't heard of them in years. Yeah, dude. And they were dope. I remember, when we played the show with them, what's the singer's name, dude? What was her name? Whatever. I had just got off stage and she was in the crowd. And I noticed her in her hoodie. Like she had her hoodie so that nobody would like see. So that nobody would see. Yeah, you never know with Hiller, maybe. But she had her hoodie on so that nobody would see her. And I recognized her. And I went and talked to her. And yeah, it was a surreal moment. I forget. No, it's not Haley. Haley Williams is Paramore. I wish that we did a show with her. I forget where I was going with that. But anyway, yeah, it was a really cool time. And so anyway, that was the inspiration to just like keep doing, keep staying true and doing. Oh, basically she told us that she loved our set, that she thought the music was good, all this stuff. And I think that like, dude, when you get the opportunity to like talk to people who are bigger than you and actually get constructive feedback and all the, like, I'm so used to that, dude. I'm so used to being in front of a crowd, in front of a stage, public square type thing. Like the shit doesn't bother me. You know what I mean? And so when you get the constructive feedback and criticism, I think it's really good, but it needs to be constructive and you need to actually have feedback on it. Right. And so anyway, but when you stay true to the art for a long enough time, eventually something's going to pick up steam. And that's what happened with my band back in the day. I was going to tell you guys a story is that like, you know, we wanted to make music just like All Time Low. That was one of our biggest influences. The other influence, obviously, Blink-182. And then it was like Mayday Parade and fucking A Day to Remember and all these different like kind of like pop core bands that were adjacent to pop punk. And so we like tried making music like that. And for our first EP, it did really well. We released it. People loved it. But then the next EP, or like the next, I guess, set of like 3 to 4 songs when we went and did our studio time, we kind of were like, maybe we should be just like kind of sticking to our own thing, right? And one of the songs that did the best out of all of them, well, there was 2 songs. The one song was called Untitled. The other one was called Party Girl. But that was just like truly and authentically like our shit, like our music. Right. And so Brand New is good too, dude. Brand New fucking slaps. But that was authentically our shit. That was our creation. And those were the 2 songs that actually did the best because it was just, we grinded it out for long enough, right? We sold a bunch of merch. We went to shows. We kept showing up. We kept doing our thing. And those are the 2 things that ended up actually doing really well. And then we were in contact with All Time Low's producer at the time in LA. I was going to drop out of high school. We were going to go to LA, do the thing. We just didn't. People got engulfed with drugs, partying, rock and roll. I remember the first time that we got asked to sign like a pair of tits. I remember the first time we got asked to sign a pair of tits. And I remember like, it's game over. It's game over. Yeah, and it literally was game over. One of the people just thought he was like a fucking rock star because he got to sign a pair of tits or a bra, whatever it was. And then that's basically what ended it. That was the catalyst. Because once people start getting like this high horse thing, it's just a matter of time. Like dude, even for me, like I'm not even going to lie about it. Like once you start getting this superiority complex on things, like it's just a matter of time before you fall off. And so like that dude that was in my band signed a pair of tits and was like, oh my gosh, somebody asked me to sign a pair of tits. It's fucking awesome. Rockstar lifestyle. Mike Will made it, right? He started divulging or turning more to alcohol and weed and, you know, just partying more. He'd get like fucking wasted before shows and shit. And he couldn't even like keep it straight. He couldn't even play the fucking songs. And so everybody just got kind of sick of it. And I remember we had brought on this female guitarist and she fucking ripped, bro. She ripped. She was like all over that shit. She ripped. And yeah, that was why she quit. So anyways. Why is everyone switching to hybrid? I wonder if I can switch this shit like right now. Because I got time before I got to go run. I know I'm wasting my time, but but I've got time to burn today. I did all of my work this morning already, all my client updates. And yeah. So I think I might jump into this hybrid reaction thing with the Buttery Bros. Admittedly, I'm not keen on Buttery Bros whatsoever. Like I've had contact with the Buttery Bros. The Buttery Bros and I have a little bit of history together. Not in way before I even started the pod, way before. But I'm not a fan of the Buttery Bros, period. Yeah. So I prefer to call it garbage time. That's facts. Okay. I think that maybe we should jump into this. Maybe we should just do it. Like, because I'm not going to go live again until Tuesday. So maybe we edit this and get into why is everyone switching to hybrid? All right. Fitness in 100 words. Let's see. Boom. All right, we're going to hop into why is everyone switching to hybrid right about now.
What is a hybrid athlete? What does that mean?
Is it a runner who lifts, a bodybuilder who runs, and are High Rocks athletes hybrid rock stars? Or is it all just CrossFit in disguise?
Don't say the hybrid word. I hate that word.
What does that mean?
Or is it all just CrossFit in disguise? Is that what it truly is? Or what?
Term come about, and how has it risen in popularity in today's fitness vocabulary?
I would say I'm very hybrid.
We've been traveling the world to find out.
Okay, so Kenneth asked earlier if Nick Bear is the poster boy for hybrid. Eric Hinman. I worked out with Eric Hinman. I worked out with him in July in Colorado, and it is confirmed that Eric is a beast. And to be honest with you, what my opinion is that in the public square, in the public eye, Eric is the truest CrossFitter besides Rich Froning. He is the actual CrossFit athlete. Not only does Eric do Metcons and lift, but Eric also mountain bikes, he gravel bikes, he runs, he does high rocks. What else does he do that he posted about? I'm not really sure. Maybe he is. Maybe when I become a big YouTuber, I'm actually the hybrid athlete because I do Metcons, I lift, I'm preparing for an ultra marathon right now. I'm preparing for 2 ultra mountain bike rides. I skateboard regularly. I snowboard or semi-regularly. I snowboard. I do all these things. So maybe, just maybe, I don't know, the top 3 GOATs right now, like I'm the most fit for sure. No, I'm just kidding. But Eric Hinman and what's his name? And Rich Froning. I don't know. That's a good question, Kenneth. James Sprague did a half Ironman or something. Is he a hybrid athlete? I think that's not technically like a sport. right? That's just doing fitness like competitively, which is like kind of the argument for CrossFit. It's competitive fitness. So I don't know. I guess we'd have to define what sport is and all these different things, right? So
All roads led to one unexpected epicenter, Austin, Texas.
So this is why they call it.
I'm DMing Hiller to see what exactly the waste of time is.
Right.
So we headed there, and what we found is a nuanced and interesting community with a lot of potential. Roll the footage.
I'm trying to redefine what it means to be hybrid. That's right. All these little marathon runners doing High Rocks workouts, like, I'm hybrid. I'm like, let me show you.
The term
Chris Bumstead, bro.
Hybrid athlete gets people triggered.
For most people, this means you're a mediocre lifter and a shitty part-time runner. Average lifter, runner. Hybrid rock star. Go one more.
If hybrid athlete means I can't play sports, then that's not a fair name. You know what I mean?
Yeah, facts, dude. And the fact of the matter is, like, these people that are identifying as hybrid are like subpar at everything, right? They're shitty at everything. Like, and dude, that's not a knock, by the way, either, because fitness is just supposed, like, if you're like, my argument with like the hybrid culture is that it's people who run and it's people who lift. Oh, so you just do normal fitness. So you just exercise like a normal person does. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that you're supposed to be good at, I don't even know what being good at lifting is, right? Unless you're defined as like doing sport, like powerlifting and stuff like that.
A lot of people about this, but no one could give me a clear, defined answer. What is a hybrid athlete?
A hybrid athlete, I don't know, can do multiple sports, maybe?
Okay, we have a maybe on a definition. What's a hybrid athlete?
Hybrid athlete, a good excuse to be mediocre at everything.
An influencer?
I think it's someone who is very well-rounded.
I say hybrid athlete, yeah. Last month I did bodybuilding show, now I'm here.
Kind of on a whim can sign up for anything, whether it be strength-related, aerobic, anaerobic-related, and train for 4 to 5 months and be pretty damn good at it.
A well-rounded athlete that does a lot of different types of fitness.
Being a well-rounded athlete.
Kind of just like lifts weights and does Ironmans and swims.
Sounds like something else. There's something else, there's a word that's on the tip of my tongue.
You lift a lot and you can run a lot.
I think that you need to be able to lift to prevent injury and running and vice versa, but a lot of times you're going to prioritize
Athlete that does a lot of different types of fitness.
Being a well-rounded.
Kenneth Delap, master or jack of all trades, master of none. An influencer is actually a great answer. That's true. That's facts.
Kind of just like lifts weights and does Ironmans and swims.
Sounds like something else. There's something else, there's a word that's on the tip of my tongue.
You lift a lot and you can run a lot.
I bet you he's going to say, sounds like CrossFit.
I think that you need to be able to lift to prevent injury and running and vice versa, but a lot of times you're going to prioritize one over the other depending on what you're training for.
Being really good at running and lifting, that's my definition. And being really respected in both. Saying you can run a sub-3 marathon and bench 315 is kind of...
That's an interesting take from this guy, though, and he's one of the raw dog athletic guys, right? It's an interesting take by him because then, like, he's saying, okay, let's do it again.
Respected in both. Saying you can run a sub-3 marathon and bench 315 is kind of
like if you're going to put parameters, and that's what being a hybrid athlete means, is being able to run a sub-3 marathon and bench 315, there's going to be like literally 1% of people, if not less, that would do that. Like I would be really hard pressed to believe that he can do 315 on the bench. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he could run a sub 3 hour marathon, but to get that, like, quote unquote, good at both things, yeah, finally a quantifiable answer. I'm glad that he did say that. This is not like a knock on him, but to get that good, in quotes, at both of those things would be really fucking hard, dude. Just to put it into perspective, right now I am getting ready for 2 ultra bike rides and 1 ultra marathon run. Okay. And I'm also trying to like keep Metcons in there. And I'm also trying to doing all these things, jack of all trades, master of none, right? It's very hard to quantify that type of stuff when you're putting so many demands on your body. Like right now, I don't even know how much. Well, my goal is to deadlift 600 by a certain time. But right now it's really hard to actually like be able to progress in anything besides the two things that I'm like really trying to nail down. And if you're trying to get a sub 3 hour marathon, it's going to be really hard to bench 315. For most people, it's going to be really hard to be able to bench 315. My poor knees is correct, dude. My hips. I'm 32.
Okay, like that's respect.
One who can run a sub 6 minute mile and squat over 500 pounds.
Cross train? No, cross hit.
Just think about it.
All right, I'll think
Take a
about
deep
it.
breath. What's the difference between a CrossFit athlete and a hybrid athlete?
I think they go hand in hand.
I think these days, here's what a hybrid athlete is. It's someone who runs a lot, some bodybuilding and or some strength stuff in isolation. But they don't combine the two.
Remember when you fired him?
I didn't.
It wasn't until we made it to Austin that we got an official hybrid history lesson from Alec Blennis.
Today on the show, we got Alec Blennis, hybrid athlete, coach. We're gonna do some stupid human tricks, starting with pegboard challenge.
How do you feel about pegboards?
I haven't done one in a long time. I've been working out for about 2 hours.
And what have you been working out?
Did a track club this morning, had some 800s, worked out with some monster athletes in the gym here. We did deadlifts, we did a back day. So my grip's pretty toast, but we'll see what I got left for the pegboard.
Pulling power. Up first pegboard score is time to finish or how far you get. After stalking his Instagram, we realized that Alec could do some incredible feats of strength. So we thought we should test him with some head-to-head challenges.
Yeah, this guy's actually fucking crazy.
So hybrid athlete, definitely trending now. And I think a lot of people don't actually know the history of it. So I'd feel bad if I, was in this interview and didn't give a lot of credit to Alex Viada. He came up with the term hybrid athlete back in 2007, 2000.
Alex Viada. I've never heard this name. I got to look more into this. 700 plus raw squat and a sub 430 mile. That's fucking crazy, dude. What? Do I think he purposely shaves his chest this way? I didn't even think. Let's back it up. Yeah, he has to. There's no way. Dude, his stomach has no hair.
So I'd feel bad if I, was in this interview and didn't give a lot of credit to Alex Viada. He came up with the term hybrid athlete back in 2007, 2008, maybe even prior to that. He wrote The Hybrid Athlete, and I remember reading that book when it came out.
Oh, we're going feet. Yeah, feet are acceptable.
Nowadays, it's caught on. There's a lot of people identifying as a hybrid athlete now, and I think what so many people miss about it is it's not running and lifting.
Wow.
To me, it's an intent and the pursuit of concurrent improvement in mastery over multiple disciplines. It doesn't have to be running and lifting weights. It could be jiu-jitsu and rock climbing, taekwondo and cycling. Pick two things that the actual adaptations serve at cross purposes, and you're committed to excelling at both. It's not just fitness.
Oh, damn.
Fitness has been around a long time, but now with the rise of hybrid training, we're seeing people reach heights that have not been done before.
I feel like solid.
55 seconds.
People pushing for marathon PRs while trying to get as big as possible and competing in bodybuilding shows. So to everyone that's like, it's just fitness, it's been around. Yes, but not at the level and not with the intent behind it that we see today.
Yeah.
One more. One more.
Oh,
oh man.
Whap, 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 1 game win streak. My guy went legless and was only like 30 seconds behind where I was. If I was legless, there's no way I'm eating that far on that thing. Winter months mean cold floor.
Okay. Let's skip.
Accessory work should be hard. And that
The
includes
Buttery Bros, dude. I just they're like the Logan Paul of the CrossFit world. Ugh. I mean, it's just not for me, bro. And my interactions with them definitely does not help my perspective of their creation.
Single leg training. I'm sick of seeing people like go full send on their barbell back squats, and they get on a single leg deadlift, and like everyone grabs the same 35-pound kettlebell as everybody else. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, make it heavy, make it hard. So that's what this exercise is all about. It's a single leg exercise, but it's
This guy is just fucking crazy strong at the most obscure, the most like the most random movements. Hold on. Let's see if they're, did they tag this guy? They didn't. They didn't. And I don't want to, fuck. I don't want to rewind it and find him. Shit. You guys got to find this guy's name and then go to his Instagram page because he is a unit.
super loadable, and I love pushing it really, really heavy. So
Nothing but to do it. Let's get to it.
let's do it.
I've never done these.
Single leg deadlift is his argument. I mean, dude, I'm going to be real with you. If you're good at the single leg deadlift or a split squat, that has way more carryover and transition to things like sprinting, running, biking. This guy's a fucking beast. Like, I think that I watched him single leg deadlift 500 pounds or something crazy. I think.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Right in that hip, yeah. Two plates.
Alec clearly has some obscure strength, but he also has the world record in Murph.
And I did that in, I think, 2021, 32 minutes and 41 seconds. I beat Hunter McIntyre's record from the previous year, and the record still stands.
Uh-oh. Do those push-ups count? Hiller?
I beat Hunter McIntyre's record from the previous year.
Come on, bro. Those push-ups don't count, right? Those push-ups can't count. There's no way they do.
And the record still stands from that like 3-4 years ago. But
He was just slapping his dick on the ground.
forward. Okay. Now, so you're going around the wrong side of it with your strap. So you go under, and then you pull it tight first. Feel how it locks in there?
Yeah. I don't even have to balance on this foot.
For most people, let's just keep it a buck. You should probably be doing a B stance rather than a unilateral deadlift with your fucking leg up. I will give that prescription. You should be doing a B stance deadlift to keep your trunk tight. Especially if it's your first time doing something like this. Once you build up that unilateral strength and the ability to actually keep your core tight and not over rotate in this movement, you should probably be using a B stance. Gives me young Josh Bridges vibes. Yeah, he does, dude. Yeah.
4 plates, baby.
Jesus.
Grab this way.
4 plates is crazy, dude. That's 180 pounds. Just in plates.
Dude, nice.
That feels so forced. Whoa.
25.
Boys, think I got this?
Grab it under.
Oh, wrong way, ready?
Yeah, you have
Oh!
Yeah!
Oh, shit. He's got them genetics, bruh. He's got them genetics. I think this fool is Puerto Rican.
Okay,
Yeah.
now doing 6.
Oh,
Yeah, lightweight. I think I got maybe a
See,
slight
this
hemorrhoid
dude,
on
bro.
that 5th plate, but you know.
This shit is like, this is what people like. Okay, I'll keep it a buck here. This bar slapping, meathead locker room or like football, locker room type shit. That's the shit that I miss. That's the culture that I miss. I don't know if CrossFit ever had its heyday like that, but like for sure, that's the type of shit that like got you stoked and pumped up and ready to go. And like, we just don't like, dude, you don't see that shit anywhere. There's those fools that are going viral right now from the East Coast. And who is it, dude? What are their names? Man, I know about like everything and everyone, but I just don't like remember names and stuff. But they're black and Puerto Rican dudes. And no, the one dude is Arabic, I think. Whatever. And they have this culture I fucking love this shit, dude. What are they doing with the other hand? Is it wrapped? He needs to get out in the sun. Yeah, he's translucent.
Gotta count it. Got it done.
Yeah, they got a wrap on.
Okay, we're gonna do a strict handstand push-up against the wall, but we're gonna go deficit after every round. How far do you think you go?
I think we're going at least below the shoulder.
Let's do it. Here we go.
Earlier, Alec mentioned the Hybrid Athlete book, which actually has the definition of a hybrid athlete.
That was freestanding.
Oh, they're doing freestanding.
Training of different athletic...
Not the Trend Twins. Fuck, man. I don't know. When I remember, I'll let you know.
That do not explicitly support one another, and whose disparate components are not essential to success at any one sport.
That definition sounds to me
Look at the speed at which this guy.
CrossFit adjacent.
You know, CrossFit, I think, is a perfectly valid example of hybrid.
Yeah.
I think it's hybrid, and if it's not, at least still, you know, hybrid training principles are very important. They're going to help you get the most out of it.
Don't slide on me, please.
We should also clarify that not everyone that labels themselves as a hybrid athlete has heard of Alex Viada, read his book, or even agree with some of his principles.
Got me again.
That's crazy.
Like my friend Christy O'Connell says,
if you do ask 10 different people, they might have 10 different answers. And I would honestly say that I was one of those people that I had a hard time understanding.
Dude, that is wild. That's crazy.
Definition of hybrid when you really first started to hear that term. Running and weightlifting is really what I thought of.
Okay, we're gonna watch. Okay, last one.
This guy reminds me of like a white Bo Jackson. There's nothing this guy can't do. He's good at everything.
Wild. That's crazy. All right. So anyways, I am completely done for today. I got to go run. I got to go be a hybrid athlete. I got to go do 7 miles. And then we have people coming over for dinner. So I got to go get this done now. But I appreciate you guys so much for watching. Thanks for lining up with me. Thanks for rocking with me. Subscribe, like it, do all that. Kenneth, I'm pretty sure you're the only person that's still on here. This stream actually did pretty okay. So we are going to keep it up. We're just going to keep doing what we got to do. All right. Peace out. Goodbye.